When you're feeding meal to cattle, normally you give them a little bit of beef nuts or dairy nuts or pellets for cows. These are cows. I always like to put a bit of Indian meal, Indian buck, maize meal, ground maize, call it what you like, yellow meal, whatever you want to call it, in first. That calms them. Now I can put the nuts. See? So the effect of that is that if you put the nuts in on their own, very often cows like that will go mad and they'll upturn the whole thing and spill the whole thing out, and they'll bully the weaker ones. And I'm one of the very few farmers that have always said that the rate of eating or ingesting of meal by cattle differs greatly between individual animals. And if you have a quick eater and a slow eater in the one batch, obviously the quick eater is going to thrive and the slow eater is not going to thrive. So you need to do something to try and stop that happening. And there's various means I won't go into now. But one means is to stretch out the period that they're eating. Stretch it out. So make them eat the yellow meal. Stop the rush. That kills the rush. You can give them any meal you want then. And some people and some vets urge the use of granular nutrients, elements, or booster, whatever you call it. These type of cattle need a booster. And I have to admit, with the election this year and my participation in it, I was bad, didn't give them enough of the booster. And I don't think they're just looking as good. No, they're all right. But I will soon remedy that. They'll be getting their elements, their selenium, their cobalt, all of those copper, all of those things. You can buy it in a bag, you can get it of local suppliers. There's a man here supplies it locally, and I can tell you who he is, or you can get it in a block form or a bucket form. The only thing is, make sure it's out of the rain. There's no point having it out in the rain. But the bag of meal, the bag of it mixed with a little bit on top of that there, will last you nearly the whole winter, and it makes they'll be in good form. It also helps the calf. You'll have less calving problems, and you'll have less deformed calving problems, because a modern calf from the AI is a big pull on the mother cow. So he needs everything going for him, and therefore the nutrients and the booster is essential. Now you see it's not here now, but it won't be too long until it is. Make sure your cows get all those essential vitamins, essential elements. They were actually made inside of dying stars billions of years ago. When stars exploded, hard to believe. They're elements, as I say, like selenium, cobalt, copper, zinc, a very, very important element. Calcium is also, I think, in it, and there are a few others. But the suppliers do a good job and give it. Don't deprive your cattle of it. Now, if you feed it neat to these cattle on its own, some of them won't eat it. It's not very palatable. But you don't need to do that. You just mix a wee bit of it. And of course, the maize, the yellow meal, the India buck, or whatever you call it, the yellow meal, the ground maize, is an ideal host to put in with it. In fact, you could mix it up together before you do it. Okay. So the little bit of meal is a great job for cattle and a great job for calves. And for the rest of the season, now that the election's over, I'll be making sure these cattle here will be fully up to speed with their nutrients and their nourishment and everything. There's good silage, best of good silage. It has a real smell of summer to it, a real smell of summer. When you smell, it smells like tobacco. Yeah, it smells like tobacco. So, but they need a little else extra. In the end of the day, it's only grass. It's only grass. And in some places, it's half rushes, it must be said. I don't have that big a problem with them. So, right, folks, we'll see you back soon. I suppose the other thing is, by right, I should have a scratcher in there. And that's the next thing I'll try and invent. Some way that the cattle can get scratched. We look at that. But I've shown you a few ideas of how to keep your shed taken over nicely and the cattle in it in good form. Of course, you will have seen here that I don't have rubber mats. I don't have rubber mats. They're on the bare slat. Well, that's one thing that's going to change. Please God, I will install the rubber mats in this shed and have the cattle lying on the mats. But the one thing about it too, in very cold and breezy weather, there's no draft here. You've got to make sure that there isn't air or wind coming in to your tank underneath, your slurry tank. You want no draft coming up through there. I made damn sure that wouldn't happen. Make sure there's no draft. If there is a draft, find out where it's coming from and stop it. Don't have cattle lying on a draft. Okay, that'll do you. I have very little else to tell you. Just you can see over there, there's a barrier over there as well. See it there? And that means you can feed those cattle from both sides. You can give the meal from inside and outside for 2 of the 4 bays. Right, okay, we'll see you back. Good luck.